Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and today is a very special conversation that we'll be having in this show with someone who has faced adversities in her life with lot of strength and consistent courage with a sense of hope. And hope in adversities is the theme with which we welcome her via Skype. Dr. Samina Rehman is joining us from Arizona. Dr. Samina, welcome. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste ji, Ashok ji. Thank you so much for those very kind words. Thank you so much.
Yeah, actually, life is full of surprises for us, and each one of us meets life in a unique way. So, let us walk with you. When you were growing up, what was the vision about what you wanted to become and how it unfolded? If you briefly share that journey with us.
My parents are doctors, so from a very young age, I knew I wanted to be a doctor. But my mom is, she's a working mom. She's a full, she devoted herself as a mother as well as a physician. So I always had this image of me. I'll, get married one day. I'll have children. I'll have my career as well. I'll be the best mom ever. But things always don't work out. A lot of things are not in our control, and all we can do is, like you said, just face it with courage. When bad things happen, when things go unexpectedly, don't give up.
Yeah, let me bring you back to those days when you were realizing your dream of becoming a doctor, and it is also not easy. You need a lot of hard work and focused hard work, along with some amount of luck. So when you got into medicine and as a student, how were those days, if you try and recollect?
Oh, it's always hard to try to stay in the top few, the top ranks of any class. It's always hard, but it helped me that my parents were so focused always on me. They believed in me. They said, you can become a doctor. You just have to work hard. I would try to be lazy, but they would always push me. My sister would always encourage me. And without their support and their faith in me, it would not have been possible. You can be the smartest person in the world, but without some people supporting you and guiding you along the way, the right people guiding you, giving the right guidance, and some luck, So I'm lucky I had that support. And you go through school, you have to keep your marks good always, and then especially if you get married and then you have a family, then there's some delays, but it's not impossible. You can with the delays also you manage.
Yeah. So you got married while you were a student or after finishing your medicine?
Right after med school. And then we had to give all those exams, after, to get licensed to work in the US, you have to give a number of exams, which are pretty tough. So I gave those after I got married.
I see. So coming back to when you are a student and you learn a lot about human body, does that give you an additional perspective about how we should be looking at ourselves as human being?
The human body, it's like a miracle. It's still, I've been doing medicine for years now, and med school was so many years ago, but it's a miracle how God has created a human being. I mean, the blood vessels, the nerves, and how things can go wrong, and that how everything does have a solution. We are very complex creatures with complex organ systems, but and anything can go wrong to any of those systems, but there's almost always a solution. And if there's not always a solution, we're always working towards finding one. Research is always going on, trying to find new things, new ways to solve all these problems. So that tells you about life too, that life can, is very complex, but there's always a solution in the end. To stay positive.
Yeah, that's the beauty of life, that there is a solution along with the problems. But what is your specialization, and was there anything that you felt was very, very challenging for you as a student, or somewhere when you don't see things happening the way you have worked for them, you feel a little disappointed. Some of those moments also came to you?
Oh, I remember when I was giving my USMLEs, it was after I had my child, and that exam is like a war. You feel like every day you're waking up, you have to study for 10 hours that day, and every day you're pushing yourself. And I realized one thing, that if you push yourself, you can achieve anything. Because first I thought I was going to fail the exam. But and I think that's the USMLE exam, I think it's the toughest exam in the world, and I think most doctors will agree with me. But you can do it if you have a good strategy and you put your full sincerity. That's what I learned, that if you keep trying to do something, you will finally achieve it. But you have to have a good strategy, learn from people around you who have managed to succeed in that. And so all those chat forums would be very helpful. People tell their experiences and you read from them and you're like, oh, okay, that's how they dealt with this. They also felt these doubts and they also came across these problems, and that's how they dealt with it. So it really helps to learn from other people's experiences. You don't have to actually go on those forums and write anything yourself, but you can read about people's experiences. That helped me a lot. And just, persevering. And you have to believe that there is light at the end of the tunnel. If you go into it thinking, no, I won't be able to do it, I'll just try it for a few months. No, you have to go into thinking, I will keep pushing until I succeed. So, and of course, I had a lot of family help. Without help, it would have been impossible, child exams. But definitely women or men out there should have faith in themselves, that if you really work hard, it always pays off. It does pay off. Maybe not now, maybe in some years, but you plant the seeds. And you just plant the seeds and they will grow at some point.
I want to clap because all these words are music to my ear, as well as people who are struggling, trying to focus on doing something. When they hear such positive words coming out of experience, it means a lot, and I thank you for that. And now let's move towards the other side of life. You mentioned you got married right after you finished your medicine, and looking at the approach with which you have embraced life, one would see things happening in the right way, but it seems that was not meant to be. Share where things you feel went wrong.
So, I got married. I had all these dreams, but my problems can happen between a husband and a wife. It's not unusual. It's not something to be ashamed about. If you don't get along, you don't get along. And so in 2013, after I came to the US for my training and I brought my son and my husband with me, we consensually moved to the US, me and my husband. And we were very excited about it, because even he would get an opportunity to do the same training as me, give the exams, the same thing, go through the same thing. So we were very...
He was also a doctor?
Yes, he also graduated from MBBS. And he was in the process of studying for the same exams that I had studied for, and I had passed them, but he was still in the process of giving them. They're very difficult exams, and it's very discouraging when you can't, you feel that, all right, I can't do it, but you just have to keep persisting. But I guess, he had other plans. So in 2013, he took my son and he left to India. So I was in my first year of residency training then. I was working 90 hours a week. And on top of that, this happens, 80 or 90 hours a week. And then on top of that, this happened.
How old was your son at that time?
He was 6 years old. And we were so close, I mean, yeah, of course, when you're working 80 hours a week, that the first few months that we came to the US in 2012 and my son was taken 2013. But prior to July 2012, I was doing everything for my son. I was taking him to school, bringing him back, doing his homework. Doing his meals. I was staying in my parents' house and they were helping us out. And then when we came to the US, it was me, my husband, and my son. And
let me share the image of you with your son. I think we have, his name is Abdullah, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Abdullah. So here is a cute Abdullah with this mother. And this was taken here in America?
Yeah, this was in 2012 in winter. And he loved the snow. I think it's his favorite thing in the whole world. The night he was born on 28th November 2006, that was the first snow where he was born. So he has this attraction for the snow, I guess. I hate it, but I hate the snow.
Please repeat his date of birth.
November 28th, 2006. So he's turning 10 now in
yeah,
a few days.
because we are about to greet him on his birthday with you
Yes,
through this program.
exactly. Yes, yes.
So let's look at the scenario when your husband moved with your son. What did he tell you?
He didn't tell me.
Oh.
He said he's going to Florida for 4 days to meet his sister, and then after that he went to Dubai and then to India, and I didn't really realize what was going on. And when he didn't from Florida, he told me, I'm coming back to New York. I had made mutton curry. I was ready. My husband is coming back home. We had some fight before that. I thought, all right, we're going to make it work out. But instead of coming back to New York, he went from Florida to Atlanta to Dubai. And while he was in Dubai, he texted me that I'm in Dubai now. And I said, you come back, because I can't just leave the job and come. It's not so easy when you're on a contract and on a visa. You can't just get up and come. So I told him come. Then he went off to India. And then from India, he sent me an email saying that he would actually come back in a few days. He's thinking about things and he would come back. But then he didn't come back. And then no one from his family answered my calls. His parents, his siblings, no one answered my calls. No one answered my parents' calls. So then I had to get the police involved here and the FBI.
So let me just so that we process it with you. It seems like something very, very strange happened. He was hiding something which probably he already had in his mind, and there was some plot which was prepared before he decided to tell you that he's going to Florida, went to Dubai, then went to India. It doesn't sound like a fair thing to have happened in any relationship. Was there any emotional disturbance or any thing that would give you a hint about it? And just for the sake of understanding, was he very much affected that he couldn't get through USMLE and you have passed, and was it kind of making him feel inferior or something like that?
It could have been. It could have been. Just before he took off to Florida, the 2 weeks before that, we had a big fight at home, and but then right after that, he showed me signs that he wants to reconcile. So I thought, all right, we're going to reconcile. I want this marriage to work out, especially for my son. My son deserves the love of both parents. And then, so that's why it took me by surprise, because he had, from the fighting mode, we had gone to reconciliation. And during this reconciliation period, that's when he took off. And that was underhanded, and it showed that it had been planned from before, because it's not so easy to just get on a plane and, of course, in the US doesn't really have exit control, so it's very much possible. But he did have some planning go into it, and I didn't realize that. I just thought, we'll reconcile. We've been fighting for years. We'll get together again, we'll fight, we'll get together again. But I think he was sick of it, and maybe he thought that he can't have a life over here. And even now in India, he's not really practicing as a doctor. He's more into, property, his parents' property, and he's managing that. So even if there was an inferiority complex about career, I mean, he's from a very good family background, Yeah,
he could have done something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to place things as much as we can understand. And once you came to know that he is not responding positively and he's not likely to come back, and you tried to get in touch with him to communicate with your son?
Yes, and for about 3 years, I spoke to my son about 15 times, and most of the time it was because my son would phone me. My son, he was 6, but he knew my cell phone number. He would call me when I was at the hospital to ask me, when are you coming home? So he knew my phone number. So the few times me and my son have spoken in 3 years was when my son would call. And then in May of this year, now that I've finished my residency training and now I have, I'm making a little bit more money, and I'm not bound by that residency training contract, because my one fear of going to India was I don't have any family there, so I can't just go there and these people are not even answering my phone. My husband, his parents, his siblings, they're not answering my phone, and they're not answering my parents' phone. So there was a hostility there, and I didn't feel comfortable or safe going to India. But in May, finally, me, my mom, my aunt, uncle from Bangladesh, we all went in May of 2016 to meet my son. First, we went to some relatives' house, and the relatives were very nice. The relatives in Jhansi, the family are so nice. They just want everyone to be happy. And those are my husband's father's side of the family. So they were so supportive. And then I finally went to Hyderabad, and I found my son and my husband, and we met them. And since then, me and my son are being allowed to talk very regularly on IMO or WhatsApp. So I'm very grateful. He's almost 10 years old now. He's very good at computers and on the iPhone. Basically, he's very good on the phone and with technology. So he knows how to find me through IMO, WhatsApp, whatever. He's very good at that. And I'm glad that my husband is letting us talk. But those 3 years that just got lost. I mean, I was a wreck for 3 years. A really big wreck for 3 years.
So I was because last time I think when we heard about you, it was before May, so you had not met him. But now at least you have met your son. It must have been a fulfilling experience. But you are from Bangladesh and he's from India. So when we talk about the laws that applies, is it American and Indian laws in terms of the decision of your relationship if you decide to go separate ways?
It would be, I'm married by Islamic law, so it would be by Islamic law. If and already he has said divorce, talaq to me about 4 times, and there's one in writing also he has given me. But it's still in that no man's land, because we are not talking to each other. We are not talking to each other and saying, look, it didn't work out. You go your way, I go my way. Let's at least keep our son's life peaceful and share custody. We have not gotten to that point of even talking about how to move forward. And I really wish I was at that point, because my husband should move on. I should be allowed to move on.
Okay, let me try. Samina, let me try and understand. So if, as per Islamic law, he has used those words, and you are legally, if that is the law to decide your relationship's future, then you are separated. Then what about your right on your son or anything about custody related matter?
So I have a custody order here in the US, but it was not automatically accepted in India. And in India, we had started litigating in 2014, but as soon as the Indian Supreme Court said that they would not consider my case as an abduction case, then I withdrew. I just stopped litigating further, because I'm not even an Indian. I've never lived in India. So any proof, any accusations against me, how will I prove myself? If I'm, usually people will use the woman has a bad character, she has affair, she doesn't work, she doesn't take care of the children, she's neglectful. I knew that if these accusations are made against me, which lawyers typically advise their clients to do, I wouldn't be able to defend myself. So that's why I'm not litigating in India at this time. I stopped in 2014 because I know that there is no way for me to prove anything since I don't live there. I'm not even from there. Maybe if it was a case going on in the US, I could prove myself, but not there. So, and as soon as the Supreme Court of India said that they will not accept it as an abduction case, that I said, where do I go? It is an abduction case, and
so
then where do I go from?
Was your son American citizen or no?
He was American citizen by birth, and he also lived in the US more than 6 months before he was taken. And the US was also the consensual marital home for me and my husband, because we both willingly moved there from Dubai in 2012. We both willingly moved there. I moved in July 2012. My husband waited for his visa, then he got his spouse visa, and then he still waited for many months, and finally he joined us in February 2013. But my son came October 2012, so he had stayed 6 months already in the US before he was abducted. And so that's why that's why the US is his habitual residence. So the US should be allowed to decide custody, not any other country.
So how US government and US legal system is working or has worked with you?
So, the Department of State is really helping out. The Department of State has an office called the Office of Children's Issues, and they conduct welfare visits, I think annually or twice a year, on children who are abducted abroad by a parent. But the problem with the welfare visit is that if the abducting parent refuses it, it doesn't happen. So that's something we are working with the State Department to fix all these loopholes that parents like me don't take advantage of, but abducting parents take advantage of. I mean, a simple thing like asking for a notarized consent letter, you would think that the US would do it. I mean, Canada does it, even though it's not mandatory in Canada or the US. Canadian immigration always asks, like everybody I know from Canada, they say that we have to give a letter to the immigration officer saying that the spouse has allowed the child to travel with us. My aunts, my uncles, everyone has said that. I've heard from many people, but the US doesn't do that yet. And I don't understand why. I mean, we have like 1,300 reported cases of children abducted by a parent from the US to other countries. The greatest case burden is to Mexico. Second largest case burden is to India. And you would think that the immigration officers at the airport, when they see a single parent traveling with a minor, by now they should be sensitized enough to ask for this letter, but it's not happening yet. And such a small, simple thing like asking for a notarized consent letter for travel would be enough to save years of trouble and like hundreds of thousands of dollars of legal fees and so much heartbreak. But it's a simple step. So that's how we are working with, the Office of Children's Issues and the Customs and Borders Patrol and Department of Justice. We're trying to make some changes in the law. We're trying to push for something. And the main thing is that in 2014, the Goldman Act was signed. It was authored by Congressman Chris Smith, who is our greatest champion for like all the children who have ever been abducted from the US. He's also a champion for human trafficking. And he's the chairman of the House Foreign Relations Subcommittee on Global Human Rights. So this man has been our greatest champion. He authored the bill and it was signed into law in 2014. And it basically allows the US to impose sanctions on countries who are refusing to return or not making administrative and legal changes to their system to enable return of these abducted children. And of course, when you're a parent, whether you're a mother or a father, it's your child that keeps you going. That they need you. They need you to be strong. They need you to be in a position of strength and power and safe. So that's, then I try to keep myself going for my son's sake so that he can keep going.
Thank you very much, Dr. Samina Rehman. Thanks for sharing your struggle, your experiences, and how one can keep up one's composure, ability to absorb all that is happening and articulate it in a way whereby others also get a sense of strength and hope. With lots of good wishes to you. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, Ji. I'm so grateful to you for bringing light to this darkness that we parents and our children are facing. And I don't know how to thank you enough. Thank you, Ji.
Wishing a light of love for you and for each and everyone. This is Ashok Vyas.